Welcome to New Reality Awakening, where seekers become finders and stories become transformations. Each week we open the doorway to a new vibration, sharing wisdom, healing, and awakening from the visionaries of the New Reality TV platform. We are New Reality Awakening.
Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am so delighted you're here with us today because we have a very special guest with us. Today we have Dr. Andrea Shakarian. She is a chiropractor, hypnotherapist, and spiritual healer. And today she's here to talk to us about past lives and soulmates and also angel numbers. These are all things she's very passionate about. And you know that I'm passionate about these things too. So I cannot wait to jump in and find out what she has learned about all of these things. So I want to thank you so much for being here with us today, Andrea.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I really love talking about past lives and angel numbers because I truly believe in those things very heavily. And I can't wait to hear your take on those things. But before we get started, I would love for you just to tell us a little bit about yourself. And how did you get into, because I know you're a chiropractor, how did you get into past lives and angel numbers?
Okay, great. So yes, I am a chiropractor. I have been a chiropractor for 20 years. I knew when I was young that I wanted to go into the healing arts profession. I wasn't exactly sure until I got older what that was going to look like, but it ended up that I chose chiropractic as my my profession and my way to break into the healing arena. As far as how I transitioned my practice over the years into acclimating more of a body, mind, spirit approach, I knew that the chiropractic was addressing the structural component, but I would see my patients come in with chronic pain that after treating them consecutively and conservatively with chiropractic care just weren't getting the relief that they needed. And they would, when you come in to get an adjustment, it's a lot like going to the hairdresser. People to like to tell you things, right? They're laying on this table and they like to confess things to you because it feels cathartic while they're having this, face down moment. And people would start telling me things, and I just got to the point to where I could make a correlation that a lot of what they are experiencing emotionally is contributing to their physical pain. So I began studying more modalities that incorporated the way to address the emotional and spiritual even components. And so that's one of the reasons why I got certified in hypnotherapy, was to help people overcome limited beliefs. And I also, before that, I was always someone who used muscle testing, which is something that a lot of chiropractors use in their practice to read the body. It's if you're not familiar with it, it's a type of kinesiology that utilizes the nervous system and its connection to muscles to basically determine whether the body is reading something as beneficial or not beneficial. And so I used muscle testing to develop a technique to go into the chakra system and find the blocks within the chakra system, and then ask the body, is this something that is coming from their past or their current issues they're dealing with, or a worry or concern about the future? And from there, it takes me on their timeline, and we address whatever comes up, whatever age comes up, if it's from the past, whatever emotion comes through. So I'm really becoming, at that point, I become sort of an open vessel for spirit to work through me and to give me the right questions to ask them and see how their body responds with the muscle testing. So I found a way to release the patterns that were coming up in that. And it seemed to really help my clients that were having a hard time overcoming some of their physical pains by addressing that on the emotional level. And then I became certified in angel card readings and mediumship through Charles Virtue Doreen, Virtue's son. And I was also doing some of that in my practice, helping people, who had questions and wanted spiritual guidance in that regard. So it just became a way to utilize the whole mind, body, spirit approach to help people.
Well, you've had an interesting journey. And that was quite interesting too that you took the mediumship class through Doreen Virtue's son, because that
Mhm.
has a whole new story too. Like she's taken a different path.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found her early on when I was in my late 20s, and she's the one that I studied a lot about angels. That's what drove me to Doreen, was because I'd had experiences with angels and I wanted more information and knowledge on that, and her books seemed to really draw me in. And I learned a lot about angels and even past lives and soulmates from her readings, from her materials. And when I took the mediumship course with Charles, this was before she had her switch, into her fundamental Christian route that she took. So, yeah, it was kind of a shocker to me that she switched like that, and but her son he still, you know, practices his spirituality the way that he always has.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
always get a lot of people who ask me questions because I use a lot of her decks. And they will say, well, she says they're evil now. And I'll say, no, they were created with loving intention. And that is the way that I continue to use them. And I still believe that they're very valuable and helpful tools. And, she created a lot
absolutely.
of wonderful things for people. So,
She really did. She
yeah.
really did. And there's a lot of great information that she was a good channel in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But everyone has their journey, and that's hers. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I really yeah, she has really great information on angel numbers. That's the basis of where I learned how to interpret angel numbers, from her. And I found that when I started studying angel numbers, of course, they start to appear to you more frequently because you become more aware of them. And still to this day, I see them all the time. So
Yeah,
they're
I know.
they're
I
very
see them
fun.
all the time too. And so a common one that people see often is
Mhm.
1111. And we're getting ready to come upon the 1111 portal. So what does the number 1111 mean if people are seeing that?
Right. So the number one itself is a number of manifestation. And if you see 1111, it means that you need to be aware of your thoughts, because what you are currently thinking and projecting out is what you are drawing in. So, in my experience, seeing 1111 can mean to you that you are having kind of a spiritual awakening, in a sense that you are transforming a lot of your old beliefs into new ones. And it's also sort of like a encouraging sign that you are on, the things that you are doing and the spiritual things you're studying are leading you down the right path. A lot of people associate 1111 also to the soulmate connection, and that if you're not already with a soulmate, that perhaps a soulmate is coming in, or a twin flame. So those are the more common 1111 meanings.
Okay, and so you mentioned soulmate and twin flame, and I know that you really like talking about that. So tell us a little bit more about that. For if there's anyone out there listening
Okay.
who doesn't know what a twin flame is, or I think a lot of people take soulmate as it always has to be a romantic partner, like it's your one you're destined to, but that's not necessarily the meaning of soulmate either. So tell us a little
Right.
more about that.
Okay. So yeah. So soulmates are anyone that you have basically reincarnated with in this lifetime, that you have known from a previous lifetime. And you can find soulmates in the form of not just romantic partners, but also in the form of family members, in the form of friends, teachers, co-workers. Soulmates can be anyone, basically. It's someone that you recognize on the soul level as someone that you have been in another lifetime with at some point. Okay. And usually soulmates um, come into your life at certain times when you're going through a certain situation, or you're learning about a certain thing that you're facing, or an issue that you're dealing with. And a soulmate will come in to help you go through that period. Sometimes soulmates come in your life and then they leave, and soulmates can be with you for your entire life as well. So It's just a general term that means it's someone that your soul recognizes from a previous life. Now, a twin flame is a different story. And this is quite an interesting story because I don't remember exactly when I started becoming interested in twin flames. It's been a long time ago. I can tell you that. I think one of the first, it must have been Doreen's work and some of her books that she mentioned twin flames. And then I read the book Soulmates and Twin Flames by Elizabeth Clare Prophet years ago. And the premise here is that the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame is that a twin flame is actually the other half of your soul. So it's basically like having two parts of you reincarnate at the same time in this lifetime. And some people want to make that necessarily mean it has to be a romantic connection, but it doesn't actually. In fact, a twin flame is someone that is the primary reason that you meet a twin flame, if you do in this lifetime. Sometimes you don't. I mean, sometimes the other half of your soul chooses to be more of a spirit guide to you and stays in the spirit form and doesn't incarnate with you. But if you do meet this twin flame, and I feel like more and more people are now because of what we're going through on the greater spiritual level and the ascension from the 3D to the 5D, they're going to cause you to have a spiritual awakening. That's the whole purpose of meeting your twin flame, is to rock you to that core, basically. And a lot of people will experience having a dark night of the soul after meeting their twin flame. There's a lot of push-pull dynamics that go on where you come together and then you separate. But it's the thing that I'm learning more about actually now than I used to believe about twin flames is that you're not necessarily meant to be in union with that person.
That was the
You're
next
just meant,
question I was going to ask you.
yeah, you're just meant to learn the lessons and to really, it's like the ultimate catalyst to wake you up to your spiritual awakening, to transform you.
You say, like, at least when I dealt with clients before and they talk about someone who they think is their twin flame because it started this whole spiritual awakening. But there's a lot of people who kind of confuse that with like a toxic relationship, you know what I mean? And so they're like, I have to be with this person because they're my twin flame. But yet the person is very toxic to them and more like a narcissist, you know, and just doesn't treat them well. So even if people are your twin flame, it doesn't mean that you have to be in union. It just means they exhibited those behaviors to cause you to maybe wake up and realize your worth and that you need to love yourself and connect more to spirituality. That's more what it's about, right? Not necessarily.
Exactly. And you said the key words about love yourself. That's the ultimate thing that most people, especially people who are in a relationship with a narcissist, toxic type of relationship, and that is the primary reason, is because you have to learn your self-love. And you have to remember that your soul is where love resides. You are love, and your soul is pure love, right? Your soul is love. Your soul is consciousness. God is love. God is consciousness. Where people get stuck is the mind portion, is where all of the duality exists between twin flames, like the push-pull and the love-hate and, the codependency, the narcissist, the empath, all of that exists within the mind level. And so the reason that you're having this experience is because you're having to break through and dissolve that mind, or ego, as it's known in psychological terms. You have to break through that mind and that ego to get more centered and aligned with your soul. And that is finding true love. So people are looking for love outside of themselves, and they're thinking that they're going to have this ultimate romantic relationship with this other person who they feel this deep connection with. And it's like this person is mirroring to them, what they're experiencing. And the whole purpose is to crack through to that true self-love core and to learn that. And you will find people who go through the process of separation, and then they come back together after a period of time when they're both have found that true self-love. And it's like that true self-love causes those that one soul to want to come back together. And then they, are in what you call union, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't want to be in that after they go through all of that and they realize, what that twin flame, how much that twin flame hurt them or how toxic that was, or, that they don't want to be in that relationship. They choose to be in a soulmate relationship.
Yeah.
So it's, everyone has their own journey. It's not like you can say it's a cookie cutter recipe to that.
Yeah, no, it is a very difficult journey. And it's interesting. You brought up a lot of really good points. And I've always felt like that, twin flame journey, it's so complicated and difficult. But there's so many people out there now who, like readers, who just keep doing card readings like for your twin flame, and it's always like they're coming back and they, I just feel like your explanation was so much better because it doesn't mean that you're never going to find love. It has to start with you. And I think so many people want to skip that work. They don't want to work on the self-love and they just immediately want to jump into a relationship. And the problem is if you continue to do that, you're just going to self-sabotage each time because you're avoiding the work. Like you have to do that work.
Absolutely. You self-sabotage because what happens is you become addicted to that person. It's almost like you're in a, it's almost like a drug addiction. It's like and you have all of this like energy and all of this like connection and your body feels it and you feel it on a really deep level. And that is exciting and passionate and you want more of that. So you're constantly seeking more of that. But then it comes to a point to where you're being shown the fear that comes up, the lack of trust that comes up, the issues of codependency or abandonment from your childhood or whatever it is that comes to the surface for you to work on. And then that pulls you away. But then you have these like withdrawal symptoms because you're not getting that fix of that, that validation of love that you so want from your twin flame. But that's not what it's about. And when people do that, that's the mind that's tricking them into wanting to stay in that loop. That ego is tricking them into wanting to stay there in that place of wanting more and more. And you have to break through that. You have to get to a place to where you're comfortable with yourself and you're getting all of that you thought you had to have from that person from yourself. That's what they're really there to show you, is you have everything within you, And then once you get to that place and you're in that place of really peaceful Zen self-love, that's when you can attract true romantic love to you.
Yeah.
And whether it's your twin flame or a soulmate at that point.
I love that because I've seen so many people who 1 minute they'll say, I'm unhappy with my life. I hate my life. I don't like anything. And then they meet somebody and now life's wonderful and perfect and amazing. And it's like, okay, your life sucked just 1 second ago and it changed now because you met one person. Like to me, you're putting all of your attention, you're placing the responsibility of making yourself happy on someone else instead of making yourself happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I've seen that so many times. And if there's one message I would love to get out to people, it's that we're responsible for our own happiness. Like you can't find it in someone else.
No, you can't. And you can't morph yourself into something that you're not to please someone because you think it's going to make them happy.
Yeah.
And that's the pattern that you see with the people who say they're twin flames are narcissists. Well, they're narcissists because you're enabling that because you're trying to please them and you're morphing yourself into something that you're really not,
Yeah.
And that's where, you lose yourself in someone else. That's the codependency that you have to deal with and then becoming more of a, more authentic. But yeah, it's a very good point that you brought up.
And so I've always thought or learned that with soulmates, so you usually make an agreement on the other side before you incarnate here on the earth. to learn some sort of lesson, like to be here to help each other learn and grow and maybe to learn a particular lesson. And I know you said sometimes your soulmates are with you for just a little while and sometimes they're with you for your entire lifetime here. So tell us a little bit more about that. It's that, am I correct in that thinking that we make contracts with our soulmates on the other side before we come here?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a really good book about that, Sacred Contracts. Have you read that one by Caroline Miss?
I haven't. I'm gonna write that.
Yeah, yeah. She talks a lot about how we make those sacred contracts before we incarnate. And but I will say this, that sometimes people get caught up in that idea and they think that they have to put up with certain behavior um, from people that just because they have to fulfill the sacred contract. But you can always get out of a contract if you would like. You can ask your spirit team to help you with that and to say, I want to fulfill this now and be done with it. So to kind of speed it up if it's something that you're just not really capable of handling anymore. But most of the time, yes, and also believe that you have like a soul family that you choose to incarnate with. And it's like a group of people and it's not necessarily your physical family. It can be, just a group of people that you really connect with, resonate with, go through life with the same sort of outlook, the same sort of, spiritual beliefs. And you're just that your soul fam is always there for you, and so yeah, there's definitely soul contracts that are made. And once you kind of learn the lesson there, then that person will usually leave your life unless it's someone that's in your soul family that needs to stay there for support. Now, what can happen is you find yourself not learning a lesson and constantly drawing in people, that show you the same thing. Like this happens in relationships a lot, where you um, keep attracting the same pattern of a type of person because you're not learning that lesson. And the universe is just going to keep giving you that person in a different form. And a lot of times it's even worse the next go round, just to sort of heighten it even more until you really get it. You really get what you're supposed to get out of that and learn from that situation. So yeah, soulmates can be our biggest teachers for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think about my own life. I'm like, wow, I chose to learn a lot in this lifetime.
Yes. And children, I don't know if you have children, but children are some of the biggest soulmates
Oh
that
yeah,
we have.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Learning a lot right now from them. But it's
Yeah.
incredible. And how do you, so I know you were talking about in your practice, you can work with past lives for people when you do
Hmm.
soul testing. And that's like to see where the pain is coming from. Is that correct? Like in their body?
It's to see if the pain or the pattern or whatever it is that we're looking at stems from something in their past life. When I muscle test, I can say, is this coming from something in utero? That's usually where I start, in utero and or childhood, and then I go for. But then if I don't get any hits, pretty early on, like either in utero, childhood, teenage years, I'm not getting anything, then I think, there could be something going on here with past lives. So then I'll say, is this coming from a past life? And then if I get a hit, and then we can go from there. And sometimes you get really detailed information and sometimes it's just kind of vague. It just depends on what that person's really open to receiving at that point. Um, and I can also I have been able to do past life regression two ways. I can do it through hypnotherapy, but I can also do it with muscle testing and asking the body, okay, let's start with, we start with a general period of time. This is from, we'll say the 1800s. Does it go further back or whatever, and you pinpoint like kind of a year, and then you can use Google from that point, and you can put in a year, and you can put in like a specific part of like I'll say, is it north of the equator, south of the equator, is it Earth, is it a different, planet, whatever it is. So you can get really kind of specific and out there if you want to get information about past lives using muscle testing, and that's interesting to do too.
So I don't know that much about muscle testing. So let me ask you a question
Okay.
here. So when you do the muscle testing, is a muscle has a reaction in the body, and that's how you know it's a yes or a no, or what? How are you using this example?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for instance, you're using something called a spinal reflex reaction. So the nervous system has nerves that the spine has nerves that come out of it and go directly to the muscle to innervate it, and then that inhibiting reflex comes back to the spine. So that's called like a single reflex. Whereas, in other words, it's not having to go up to the brain and come back down. So it's a local thing. So you're actually tapping into that local reflex. So what I do is have my patients hold their arms straight out in front of them. So that's actually activating a muscle in the shoulder. Okay, your anterior deltoid muscle, and you push down gently on the wrist area, and you tell them just to lightly resist. They don't have to like act like they're really trying to resist hard, because then they're recruiting other muscles when they do that. So you're just lightly resisting it. And I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing this for over 20 years. What you're trying to feel here. So there's that reflex is being innervated as you push down at that muscle. That nerve is firing the muscle, and the muscle is contracting. Okay. If you put something up to the body, or you hold something in your hand, and your body doesn't like it, or your nervous system is picking up on the energy of what that is, and it says, "What is this? This is a threat to my nervous system." The nervous system will, for one split second, will shut off that reflex. And you can tell that it's been shut off because when you push on the arm, that shoulder muscle doesn't engage and the arm goes weak. So it's like a short circuiting for just a second. It short circuits the energy, the electricity going to that muscle, and the muscle can't contract.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
So that's kind of a short, yeah, short explanation of how. So when you're really good at it, you can just simply ask the body questions, and when the person hears the question, their nervous system is responding to what they are hearing, as opposed to what you're holding and sensing with your hands.
Gotcha. So it'll still have that
Yeah,
same reaction as if
it'll still have that same reaction as if this is a threat. This information is a threat to my nervous system.
wow.
Yeah,
That's really interesting. And I truly do believe like we hold so much in our bodies, so much emotion and from past, and whether it's our childhood or past lives, that it's not at all surprising or shocking that it comes out as like a physical manifestation of pain or even illness.
for sure, absolutely. In fact, it even goes down into the cellular level. In fact, you can have patterns from your ancestors that you're holding deep in your cellular DNA. And there's a really good book that talks about that. The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. He goes a lot into how we come in with encoded in our DNAs with all of this. It could be fear, it could be betrayal, it could be trauma, whatever it is, it could come through your ancestral line. And that's creating that blueprint there that you're already vulnerable to.
Yeah.
So then when you have
Yeah.
and then when you have a situation that resonates with that, then that's going to trigger that, and it's going to be expressed, and it's going to be, something that your body is going to express even on a physical level. But yeah, you're exactly right. And that you think about it, when you have a major upset, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your stomach, you feel it in your heart, you feel it in your limbs, wherever it is that you feel it.
Yeah.
And one of the best things to do when you're having an emotional reaction is to just kind of stop and ask yourself, where am I feeling this in my body? And then you center on that feeling in your body, and you just, without any judgment of that feeling, you ask yourself, does this feeling have a texture? Does it feeling have a color? Does it have a name or a word or anything associated with it? It's just a way to desensitize it without any judgment,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think that that's an interesting approach, and I would love to see that in action sometime.
Yeah. I would love to have you come see me. That'd be great. Oh, I can do stuff over the phone too, virtually,
That's really
working with
awesome.
them.
I love
Yeah.
that how a lot of people now are able to do things like online sessions because, I think so many people have this misconception that energy, like you have to be in person with the practitioner in order for it to work, but energy can move through anywhere. So a lot of
Oh,
people
absolutely.
and virtually.
In fact, I find as the practitioner, a lot of times I find it's easier for me to um, tap into people's energy virtually because there's less distraction. When
Yeah.
they're there with you physically, there's more of a physical distraction to all of your senses. You're seeing them, you're smelling them, whatever, you're feeling them, and it's like a little bit more bombardment of your own nervous system. So when you have a little bit of detachment there, it's a little easier to clear your channels and to allow the information to come through.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes total sense. So I'd love to talk to you more about angel numbers too, because I know that's another thing that you're pretty passionate about. And we talked about 1111, but what are some common angel numbers that people might be seeing? And what do those mean when you see them?
Yeah. So yeah, 1111 is probably the first one that people sort of get attached on to. And then 444 was one that I really learned about early on because it has to do with the angels. It means that the angels are around you and the angels are supporting you in what you're going through. And it's sort of confirmation that you're not going through anything alone. So that's one of my favorite ones is the 444 number. Another one people see a lot is 333. And 333 has to do with the like your spirit team, your guides, your ascended masters, your guardian angels, that they're assisting you. And basically that you've got support, from even from not just a spiritual level, but the physical level. Then the number 777, seven means that you're on the right path. So it's kind of like a synchronicity sign that is saying, yeah, you're doing it right. Don't worry. Things are going to work out. You're on the right path. And that's a popular one. What else? 222 is keep the faith. It's like a reminder that to trust that things are going to work out, that the universe has your back, not to self doubt, not to self sabotage. That's an important one. 555 is that there's a major life change happening, or you're about to go through a major life change. It's kind of like saying, wake up because something's about to shift in your reality. Um, and then 888 is abundance. So that's a really good one to see, like that tells you that abundance is coming in, or you're manifesting, some abundance into your life. So yeah, there's a lot of the different ones that you can learn the roots from 0 to 9, what each number means. I'm actually getting ready. I'm working on a course right now, an online course that I'm going to have available that'll teach you that, what the root of each number is. And so even when you see numbers that aren't necessarily the same number, like you could see a number like 234 or 469, or 369 or something like that. You can, by knowing what the root of each of those numbers mean, you can form the general consensus of the whole number. So let's take a number. Just give me a 3-digit number that's not the same number.
Okay. How about 542?
542. Okay, so 5 means change. 4 means the angels. 2 means faith. Okay. So to me, if I hear 542, it's someone who's going through a lot of change and they're really struggling and they're having a hard time and they're doubting that they're making the wrong decisions on everything, and it's really shaking them up. So if you see 542, it's like saying, don't worry, have faith. The angels are guiding you. Ask your angels for help, ask your guides for help, and they will show you ways to get you through this, that you're going to come through this. So
I love it.
that's what I would say for 542. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
perfect message too. I love that. Great.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
see, 555 and we think change, but change doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It's just that for many of us, we see it as negative because it's
Mhm.
unknown. And I
Right.
think that's why most people fear it, because you don't know what's going to happen. But to me, I always feel like, well, if it's change and it's divinely guided and it's brought to you, it's going to be for your highest good.
Exactly. I like to look at it as that you are breaking through some old patterns that are taking you to the next level when you see 555, because that's really what is happening. It's like your spirit is telling you that you're breaking through some old unconscious patterns that are no longer serving you, and you're going to come through, stronger because of it. Yeah,
I love that.
for sure. Yeah.
I love that too. And I love whenever I see, I had a mentor who called them angel winks. And I love that too, because it's such a reassurance to me when I'm stressing about something and then I see the number and it's like, okay, chill out. Your angels have got you.
Exactly.
This is a reminder, just remember who you are and that everything always works out for you.
So yeah, and like you'll see numbers all the time. You'll go throughout your day and you'll look at the clock and you might see 111, and then you look again later, you might see 444, and then whatever, and then the next day you might see 222. So you'll be seeing all these numbers, and just seeing the numbers itself is a sign of a synchronicity, and it's just a sign that that you're having spiritual awakening. But every once in a while, you will see a specific number, and this happened to me the other day. I saw the number 62 three times in a row from three different places very rapidly in succession. Like I looked down on the ground and there was a parking ticket right outside my car. It said 62. Then I got in my car and the temperature was 62. Then I looked on my phone and it was 626 or something, the time. And I was like, what is up with 62? So right away I went and I like tapped into my intuition and I'm like, okay, what is this number telling me? And so I got the message that I needed to hear, from 62. So that's something that you can be aware of. It's like, you'll have like the general numbers that you'll see all the time. And it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just, yeah, we're here. Don't forget, we've got you. But then when they have a specific message they're trying to get across, you'll see it very repeatedly, and usually in three. If you see anything, not just numbers, anything in threes, that's your spirit team getting your attention right there. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the threes itself, if you have 333, isn't that number that has to do with like the ascended masters being with you and
Mm-hmm.
trying to teach you something? So that's like a wake up, like get your
Yeah.
attention as you're
Well,
learning.
yeah. Right. Because three is a sacred number in geometry. The triangle is the most sacred shape of sacred geometry, the 3 points of the triangle. So, and the Trinity and Christianity, and there's lots of other religious associations with the number three. So it's a very overall sacred number. Yeah, that means ascension. It means that you're ascending into your soul's next level. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's exciting, but it's
right.
not always easy. Those energies
No,
can
it's
be very
not.
tough.
It is, yeah, because you're having to face a lot of the shadows that are coming up, and you're having to really feel a lot of the feelings and the emotions behind those shadows. Yeah, and that can be, very, very hard and very, very devastating to deal with. But it's a good thing eventually once you get through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. There is light at the end of that dark tunnel.
absolutely, absolutely, yes, for sure.
Well, I have loved our conversation today, and I know that you do offer courses and you do work with people. So if there's anyone out there listening who wants to follow you or maybe is interested in one of your courses or offerings, what's the best way for them to follow you?
Sure. So I have my website is your choice is light, all spelled out, and .com. And on that website, you'll find my services page, which includes links to one of my current courses that I'm doing is how to open your third eye. And I'm soon going to be having the angel number course up on there. It's not quite finished yet. And also there's links that you can purchase one-on-one sessions with me if you want to do energy work over the phone, if you want to do a card reading, if you want to do some hypnotherapy. All of those are there on my website. If you want to follow me on social media, my biggest social media platform I use is Instagram. And my handle there is Spirit Doc, DOC. So Spirit DOC 444. And that's primarily the only social media platform that I use on a regular basis. So
Nice angel number in there.
yes, exactly.
I did that too. Mine's Melissa Oatman 222 on Instagram. So I love it. Love it.
Perfect. That's great.
We're going to have all those links in the show notes too. So you guys can just go there directly and click on any of those links. And I would love to have you come back sometime and talk about opening your third eye, because I love that too. I love people being connected more to their intuition, because it just makes life so much more fun and magical when you know how to manifest and how to really, we have all of the answers ourselves, just learning how to tap into that to get our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to come back and talk about that anytime because I'm very passionate about that. And I think I have kind of some proprietary ways that a lot of people don't talk about or teach to help with opening up the third eye. So
Awesome. Well, yeah, you're definitely coming back. We will arrange that once we are
perfect.
here. Awesome. Well, thank you
All right.
so much. This was, again, just a fun conversation. I truly enjoyed having you. Thank you for being with us today.
I thoroughly enjoyed being here, and thank you for inviting me on your show, Melissa. You have a wonderful day too.
Thank you. And thank all of you for joining us today. I'm sending you guys so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to New Reality Awakening. If this episode sparked something for you, there's so much more waiting. Catch all episodes of this show and dozens of others raising the vibration of the planet at newrealitytv.com. See you there.